Right now at 6, Portland police arrest the man they say set a fire that spread to a city councilor's home. Plus,
it's been very, very hard.
Mixed messages from the White House as millions wait for slimmed-down food benefits that still haven't arrived. Also tonight, immigration arrests spark new fear.
It's no way for kids or families to have to live.
How local leaders say it's creating a ripple effect. Then,
rain spreading across the state right now. We got a couple of really rainy days. I'll let you know when the wind will pick up too.
And later, the Thorns give their star midfielder a big extension.
You know, I want to be the best player in the world someday, and those are my goals, and this club is behind me in that.
But first, to breaking news in Louisville, where a UPS cargo plane crashed this evening, igniting, as you can see, a huge fire on the ground. Right now, Kentucky's governor confirming at least 3 people have died, with 11 others hurt, and cautioning those numbers are likely to grow. The MD-11, that's a 3-engine wide body, was on its takeoff run for Honolulu when it crashed just beyond the end of the runway, sending up a fireball and a huge plume of smoke. A shelter in place was also issued. Louisville, by the way, home to UPS's largest handling facility with some 300 daily flights. The NTSB is now en route. We'll keep you updated here as we learn more. Well, also on this election night, we're keeping a close eye on the federal government shutdown, now tied for the longest on record, though there are now promising signs lawmakers may be closer to a deal. The AP reporting that senators from both parties are quietly negotiating, trying to get the government open and funding back on track. Meanwhile, 40+ million Americans, including some 1.5 million here in the Northwest, are still waiting on delayed and slimmed down SNAP benefits. Devin Haskins is live at a food bank in Southeast Portland. Devin, sounds like demand there is way up.
Yeah, David, it is. Here at the Sunshine Division, they said by mid-morning they had already served about 100 people, and normally they would call that an extremely busy day. Instead, that just shows the uncertainty around food insecurity affecting many people living in our area.
Would you like some peanut butter also?
Yes, sir.
All right, let me get you some.
By midday, a nonstop stream of families were picking up boxes of food, not knowing when their SNAP benefits would return.
How are you today?
Peachy.
Tamra Orr is among the 100 or so that lined up at the Sunshine Division Tuesday morning.
So we've got a box and a bag.
She says whatever they don't use, they try to help their son and daughter who are also struggling, giving them extra food.
It's been very, very hard.
Orr has been receiving SNAP benefits for 2 years, something she never expected to sign up for.
It was very hard. I kind of had to be pulled kicking and screaming to do it because in the past we did pretty well, and then my profession kind of hit bottom with COVID, and all of a sudden I went from 6 figures to a lot less.
The Sunshine Division says the amount of families needing help has grown extensively. Orr's story is among the hundreds they are serving weekly.
And we're trying to do everything we can, but this is a crisis. We're at a tipping point where the social service network can't make up for what the federal government does. It is beyond alarming and disturbing what we're seeing.
SNAP benefits have not been renewed for the roughly 750,000 Oregonians since the government shutdown impacted payments for November. The Trump administration on Monday said it would partially fund SNAP using a contingency fund to comply with a judge's order. But then on Tuesday morning, President Trump posted on his Truth Social site that SNAP benefits would be, quote, given only when the radical left Democrats open up the government, which they can easily do, and not before. A statement Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt clarified.
We are digging into a contingency fund that is supposed to be for emergencies, catastrophes, for war. And the president does not want to have to tap into this fund in the future. And that's what he was referring to in his Truth Social post.
Playing games with the food on the tables of vulnerable families is just plain wrong. It's shocking that that's what an administration would do in Washington, D.C.
Meanwhile, back in Oregon, that food on the table will continue to come in boxes and bags like that at Sunshine Division, helping people like Tamra while this all gets sorted out.
We'll find ways to help each other. And we just hope it's enough because we're not going to get it from the government, that's for sure.
Now, talking about that partial federal funding, the state of Oregon is being told by the federal government to issue 50% of SNAP benefits to the recipients, although they did add that they are yet to receive any of the federal funding to do that with. David?
Devin Haskins in Southeast Portland tonight. Thank you, Devin. By the way, a growing list of businesses have stepped up to donate, fundraise, and even give out free meals. Just text the word SNAP to 503-226-5088. We'll text you back with a list. You can also text us names and details about businesses you'd like us to add. All right, to election night now, with the Associated Press calling the Virginia governor's race for Democrat Abigail Spanberger. All eyes on New Jersey and New York City as well. In the Northwest, though, you have less than 2 hours to get your ballot into an official drop box. And even though it is an off-cycle year, in some spots, there's a lot at stake when it comes to taxes. Thomas Schultz takes a look.
Here in Multnomah County, the county and city are asking voters to approve and renew a levy for parks funding. If passed, the levy would provide around $86 million next year and more than $450 million over the 5-year lifespan of the levy. It'd be used to clean and maintain parks and preserve access to free and discounted classes and recreation programs. Though the measure could cause property taxes to increase by more than 3%. The median homeowner would pay about $310 a year. That's a $130 increase over what the current fee is. Still, Mayor Keith Wilson says the parks are worth the investment.
It's a difficult time, but we have to value the parks, and this is a time to really make sure that that value, that asset, is really high performing and well maintained.
Voters in Clark County have a couple of big decisions to make too, largely revolving around funding for police and fire. In Camas and Washougal, voters will decide whether or not to fund a regional fire authority. The Camas-Washougal Fire Department is the only one in Clark County currently running 2-person engines. The extra funds would allow the agency to instead have 3-person engines. The city of Washougal says the change would create higher levels of service and streamline operations. It costs about $1 for every $1,000 of assessed value of a property. And in Vancouver, voters will decide whether or not to fund 13 more police officers. The city's been, of course, growing in recent years, and since 2017, says dispatchers are receiving 24% more calls. That's led to longer response times. The measure would cost 15 cents per year for $1,000 of a home's assessed value. That's about $75 for a $500,000 home. And look, if you haven't gotten your ballots in yet, you got to do so soon. Those Dropbox sites close at 8 p.m. If you plan on mailing in your ballot, make sure that it's postmarked with today's date at the post office. In Multnomah County, Thomas Schultz, KGW News.
Yeah, too late for the post office. Heads for a drop box. We'll be following the results as soon as counties start reporting shortly after 8. Text the word election to 503-226-5088. We'll text you back with a link to the latest results. We'll also break them down in the big races tonight on KGW News at 11. Okay, one more thing we're watching very closely, Matt Safino, the forecast. So what's the timing on that weather impact alert?
It's for tomorrow and Thursday. It's going to get windy and rain. It's already rainy, as you can see outside, but the wind will really crank up tomorrow. If you live in East County, you're going, it's already windy, but that's the east wind. The stronger south winds will kick in tomorrow. Here's Portland right now, 52 degrees, and there's that east wind. It's steady at 18 miles an hour out at the airport, and it is even gustier as you head out towards Troutdale and into the west side of the gorge. So yes, it is a rainy night, and out near the gorge, it is a windy night. Now, here's Doppler radar, and look, we're just getting completely covered with rainfall, and some moderate rain moving into the Portland area right now. Some heavier rain where you see the yellow to the south and west over the Coast Range right here. That'll be pushing inland too, and already is down around Salem. So yes, a wet night tonight, a wet and windy day tomorrow. The rainfall so far pretty light, but it's picking up in the southern sections where the rain started just a bit sooner than it did here in the Portland area. You can see to the north hardly anything at all in terms of rainfall there. Now, along with the wind and the rain, we've got surf concerns and coastal flooding concerns because there's a full moon tomorrow, so we'll have extremely high tides for the next couple of days. So here's what it looks like. Weather impact alert for Wednesday and Thursday for the rain and the wind. The gust in the valley is probably the strongest we've seen so far this fall. I'll show you those in a bit. Also a chance for isolated thunderstorms. So busy couple days, David.
Yeah, no kidding. Thanks, Matt. By the way, when severe weather moves in, we'd love you to text tips, photos, or videos directly to us at KGW at 503-226-5088. It's all the same number, right? A reminder to never put yourself in harm's way. In your headlines this evening, Portland police have arrested a suspect accused of starting a fire that spread to the home of City Councilor Candace Avalos. 51-year-old Vashon Locust is now facing charges, including reckless burning. Police say video shows Locust enter a shed near Avalos' home to use an electrical outlet they say for a heater. When the outlet did not work, authorities say Locust lit a small fire which spread to the shed, a vehicle, and then the house.
This individual talks about the need for a warming fire on a cold night. There was a fire that got out of control. It wasn't, there was no political motivation. There was nothing.
DA Nathan Vasquez there in a statement. Avalos thanked investigators and wrote in part, quote, "My hope is that we can hold space for both compassion and accountability and recommit to addressing the conditions that make tragedies like this possible in the first place," end quote. A man previously convicted of reckless driving around the Portland Metro and posting videos of his stunts, remember this, is now accused of doing it again. Oscar Burrell was back in court today accused of violating his probation by still driving recklessly, even with his license suspended. In September, a judge sentenced Burrell to a 1.5-year probation and suspended his license after he was convicted for reckless driving and endangerment. Burrell filmed himself taking joy rides, including on the highway, and even doing donuts in a local park. Prosecutors disagreed with the sentence and warned Burrell would re-offend. And local leaders are stepping up to deal with an increase in ICE activity in their communities, they say. In Washington County, the Board of Commissioners declared a state of emergency today to allocate more funds toward immigration-related services. Libby Dowsett is in Newburgh taking a look at what's happening in Yamhill County.
Local county leaders say recent ICE detainments right here in downtown Newburgh are creating a chilling effect for businesses and also workers who are too afraid to go to work.
Where's your warrant?
A Newburgh resident recorded this video Sunday of what appears to be federal agents arresting a man at a downtown Newburgh laundromat.
You better get warrants and quit harassing people.
Yamhill County authorities say witnesses also spotted federal agents arresting someone at the Thriftway store across the street.
From shopping to schools, I know that church closed this weekend because of ICE activity.
Yamhill County Commissioner Bubba King says people are spooked and staying home.
It's no way for kids or families to have to live, I think, just out of fear.
A local worker who chose not to show his face says he was headed to the laundromat when he got word of ICE in the area.
Se siente feo porque no se puede salir confiado a compras, a muchas cosas, no se puede salir a gusto ya. Entonces hay miedo.
Another resident recorded a sighting of a suspected ICE vehicle in downtown, just blocks from the Newburgh City Council president's home.
These are my neighbors. These are people that my kid goes to school with their kids, and you know, I have a lot of concern of how to have those conversations with our kids and our families and our neighborhood.
The Trump administration says the immigration crackdown will only improve community safety. But executive director of the nonprofit Unidos, Bridging Community, says these public arrests negatively affect the entire community.
Immigrants are workers, but we are also small business owners and consumers. Every time somebody is taken, it creates a ripple effect in our local economy.
These people have lived here for 20, 30 years. And so there's a due process, there's a human rights aspect to this that I think is being overlooked. And I'm getting really tired of the insanity of that piece of it.
Unidos and local leaders say to contact the Portland Immigrant Rights Coalition hotline if you want to report ICE sightings in your area. They say they have tracked 9 arrests in Yamhill County since June. In Newburgh, Libby Dowsett, KGW News.